Hello there, my name is Zac Thraves. I'm a storyteller and a mindfulness practitioner and a writer. And I would like to share with you a story that I have devised from a source from the Universal Monsters. This is a story that I have adapted for myself called The Mummy. So it's 1921. We're in Egypt. Summertime in Egypt is hot and dry. The humidity is tempered by a breeze from the sea and the Nile. It's desert weather. The scorching sun can warm the air to 40 degrees. The sand burns the soles of your feet even when you've got leather sandals on. Mad dogs and Englishmen go out in the midday sun. Well, explorers are mad dogs, and most of them are English. So here in Egypt, we meet Sir Joseph Wemple. He's what you would call a rich man with nothing to do. Since Napoleon's army invaded Egypt and uncovered the secrets of the Nile, there has been a sort of scholarly race to capture the many artifacts and the treasures that were buried within. While Carter was discovering Tutankhamun, Sir Joseph Wemple was waking an old enemy. Now this spooky place is the burial chamber of Imhotep. Now, Sir Joseph, I'll give you a bit of background on him. He was one of the lesser Wemple family members. He breezed through life, as rich people do, with the best education, and he had the worst brain. His associates that came with him on this exploration, they were the brains of the outfit, born from young men who were keen to make their fame and fortune by discovering and uncovering some Egyptian secrets and Egyptian treasures. They'd studied the hieroglyphs, they'd studied everything. Sir Joseph Wemple rarely followed orders and seldom listened to any advice. He had little hair on his head, it all gone. He had crow's feet, and either the size of his face where his eyes were. His face was leathered and beaten, almost by the harsh sands of the Egyptian desert, which had been his home for nearly 5 months. He longed for his wife, and he hoped that his son would remember him after being away for so long. Yet his desire to tomb raid was far greater than his desire for being a father to look up to. After all, he never had a father that he could look up to. The Wemples were a strange family of little wit and little substance. Yet they clung to their wealth like flies cling to sugar. "I have discovered a strange mummified body, and it is my duty to the world to uncover the secrets that lay within. This beautiful specimen could fetch a grand prize back in London, and perhaps seal my reputation as an explorer in philanthropy, and also a fool. I will now reveal the body beneath the bandages of the mummy to ascertain how this poor creature could have died. My discoveries will be the toast of England and France." Yet, as the silly man opened up the bandages, he could feel the tomb getting colder and colder. The candles flickered, and he struggled to see what it was he was looking at. He peered in to take a closer look. He ordered his 2 assistants to bring the light a bit closer. My goodness me! See here, gentlemen, this is quite astonishing. It would appear that this poor creature was buried alive. Note that the innards are intact. Egyptian custom was to remove the innards of the dead. Note, too, that the place has seriously become decidedly colder. And perhaps, dare I say, a little eerie. One of the associates noticed a scroll and he reaches out for it. Whispers begin to emanate from around the tomb, filtering in and out of the ears, filtering in out of the nostrils, almost like being surrounded by these whispers. It's like some warning or some plot was being uncovered. There's something written on the scrolls. It says the scroll of Thoth. These words, Harkum, Anepta, Araphan. No, wait! That was one of the other associates, one of the clever ones. As those words entered the air, so Imhotep is brought to life. His body creaks as air engulfs the tomb and extinguishes the flame that brought light. Darkness falls over the three explorers. There are screams, cries of panic and confusion. Sir Joseph strikes a flame, but when he does, he falls back in disbelief. The body, the mummy's, it's gone. Now we're in Egypt again. 10 years later. It's 1931. The local authority have been getting wise. Let me move the light for you. The local authority have been getting wise to the raiders from Europe, and we're now interested in curating their own history and not giving in, and giving it to the museums, not giving in to the pressure from the rich European nations. So they founded the new Cairo Museum, much to the chagrin of the wealth of England and France. Local explorers were now at the head of discovering further truths of the ancient past. One of those local explorers was a young man named Ardath. Where he came from, nobody knew, nor where he lived. He had no immediate family that anyone could discover, yet his passion to search and unseal one particular tomb was paramount, was well known throughout Cairo. He was looking for the tomb of Princess Ankh S.N. Amon. Young man, you seem like a good fit for my expedition. You are agile and lean, and seem able to carry as well as descend into dark spots. Thank you, sir. My father explored this area many years ago. What he discovered led to his madness and ultimate death. A sad conclusion, and unfortunately not uncommon. Many men go mad by looking at such wonders. I'll join you. I thank you for giving me this remarkable opportunity. The young man in conversation with Ardath is Frank. Frank Wemple. His father, Sir Joseph Wemple. Come, we must make preparations to uncover the secret of the princess. We will meet later to go through maps and meet the team. Later at night, Amid the hustle of Cairo, plans are made and teams are brought together. Ardath has arranged a number of local men to dig and remove the sand, while his personal team, made up of Frank Wemple and the young, beautiful English woman named Helen. Now, her father was a scholar of fine arts and history, and he passed all his wonderful knowledge into the remarkable brain of his beautiful daughter. Anyone who met her would fall in love with her. Frank was instantly smitten. But it was Ardath who had control of the situation. They dug and dug. The teams worked day and night to find and uncover this secret tomb. The days and nights were long. And once the tomb was discovered, the sand slowly, carefully eased away. Ardath takes charge. He ensures Helen remains close, and he hands her scriptures to memorize and notes about what he knows of the history of the princess. I say, he seems to know his stuff. As Frank engages with Helen, Ardath keeps a close eye, not wishing either of them out of his sight. Frank begins to talk to Helen. I don't trust this Ardath, but he has done me great service and no harm. I wish I could find out where his passion for this princess came from. He would find out soon enough. The tomb is found, and Ardath is the first who needs to enter. The tomb is sealed by a large stone, and it takes many, many men to ease it away, inch it open. Great gusts of air come through. It's almost like a pressure gauge. It eased open. A huge crash. The tomb is open. Ardath walks in. The walls howl with wind. Hieroglyphs move and dance with the torchlight. Helen and Frank follow in. They remain close behind him. He seems to know where he's going, Frank thinks. One can only hope his studies have led him to this, Helen muses. Ah, my beautiful princess, my gracious, beloved princess. Now they shall know the truth. For my name is Imhotep. I was punished and buried alive because they killed my love, and I tried to resurrect her. Now her time is here. The entrance to the tomb slams shut. Frank and Helen are trapped. Ardath was the mummy discovered by Sir Joseph Wemple 10 years ago. Ah, Helen, my beautiful lady in waiting, how I have longed to share this with you. Lay here, and I will make you a princess again. You're mad, Ardath. There is no Ardath. There is only Imhotep and Amon. Imhotep, you're a psycho. You were a priest tried for adultery with a princess. You're mad. Frank is too slow. Helen is placed under a spell and lies down on a sarcophagus. Frank is thrust into the chest so hard that he cannot breathe. He pants on the floor as black dust swirls all around him. It feels like scarabs are trying to get into his mouth and his eyes and his ears. He screams with fright and agony. When Frank wakes, the candles that make the shadows dance to Imhotep's tune. He has an audience, and he is playing them, bringing them into a fury. Now you shall see my love rise again. Nothing will stop us from reclaiming what is rightfully ours. Your father did this world a great service, young Wemple. He set me free, and in turn, I set the world free from the tyranny brought to us by the likes of you. How beautiful you are, Helen. So much like my tragic princess. I knew as soon as I saw you that I must be you. It had to be you to bring her back to me. Afan in tempo amon, ali amon, curre amon. Helen! The shadows begin to laugh and scream with delight. Frank is caught. His body limp, yet something inside him is forcing him to move. He gazes at Helen and sees the fear in her eyes. She's confused, dazed, tied to the sarcophagus and unable to reach out to him. Frank forces himself up onto his swollen knees and wills his legs to take his weight. Imhotep is in full swing, summoning the forces of the underworld to bring his princess to life in the body of Helen. The shadows move in closer. The audience of darkness coming in for the finale. Winds howl and sands fly around the tomb. Frank watches on in horror. Hopeless, he has no idea what he can do. Then he sees Helen. He sees her speaking in an old tongue. Oh no, this is it. She is now part of him, and that soon the two of them they'll kill Frank. But that is not what is happening. Imhotep stares down in shock at Helen. The forces of darkness are screaming in agony, and Imhotep is so wrapped up in the swirl of his spell that he cannot do anything to stop Helen from uttering the words of the goddess. Isis! The goddess sprays flashes of light all about the tomb. Imhotep cries and falls to the ground. The shadows fly off. As she speaks, the walls of the tomb fall away and light shines in, removing the darkness. The chattering shadows are now howls of pain. Helen continues her prayer to Isis, while all Frank can do is look on with wonder. Light pours in, spraying sand and sunlight into every corner of the tomb. The scrolls of Thoth catch a flame and burst into an enormous gulf of light. The scrolls perish, and as they do so, Imhotep begins to crumble. His life is draining away again as it was before. No! I'll remember you. I'll remember both of you. You have got in the way of true love. Oh, do shut up, you old fart. As the final piece of the scroll disappears into ash, so does the final piece of Imhotep. His ashen remains falling into the sand and disappearing without trace. Helen, are you okay? It is Frank. The tomb is quiet, save for the snap of fire burners still giving light in the gloom. Slowly, Helen opens her eyes. They're back in the old tomb. The walls are replaced, the sound of air coming from the entrance. Frank reaches out and pulls Helen to him. And that's it, the story of the mummy. Now, there have been many tales of the mummy along the years. This is not true. It is a tale to give you a lesson. All stories are to raise a question or to give a lesson. So what is the lesson? Well, don't play with what you don't understand, maybe, perhaps. Perhaps that true love is not found in evil. Or maybe it is. Maybe the lesson is never to rely on a man to do something in times of trouble. Of course, Frank and Helen ended up together, but she saved him through her learning. Wit outweighs muscle every time. My name is Zac Thraves. Thank you for listening.